Hi everybody, happy St. Patrick's Day, happy Irish Day. So I'm in the kitchen and it's 9:30 a.m. and it's Wednesday, March 17th, and I'm cooking. And today I'm making a version of potato soup with a little ham steak in it that I got at the Family Dollar store. I got a whole ham steak for $1. Look for those specials, right? So my ham is nice and thick. I'm trying to think of the name of the brand of this one. I think it was like Stonyville or something in the meat section. I've got 2 jumbo celery, 3 good-sized carrots and like 1 mini one in there, and 1 medium good-sized yellow onion. I did kind of a stew chop, kind of rustic all over the place. Little thicker, kind of, I didn't make everything circular or anything. So I just have a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil with totally in there. I also got from the Family Dollar store for $5. I think it was $4.99 to tell you the truth. Good stuff. Okay, so what's going into my ham, celery, and that's kind of where I want it to be right now, is a can of Wegmans reduced sodium chicken broth. The whole can is 1,000 sodium. 1,030 milligrams of sodium for the whole can. And it's 33% less sodium. Then I'm going to use two packets of Herbex, no sodium, and another 2 cups of water. I have 2 russet potatoes chopped up here. They're going in. And see, I'm leaving them kind of big. So I want this to be a potato and ham soup. And then I'm going to put my broccoli in it too. I'm just calling this a throw it all in the pan kind of thing. And then I have some of my cabbage here that I'm going to throw in. So I'm going to let this brown up a little bit. And then as the potatoes start to get a little bit brown, not too much, I'm going to give a little bit of rosemary, a little dried rosemary because I like it on potatoes. It's dry, so you only need a layer, very fragrant. And I always do a little thyme, and it's dry, so you don't need much of this, because that will, dried seasoning always is more. I'm going to go ahead and do a little Italian seasoning. So I want the marjoram that's in it, and the parsley and the basil, and the oregano. Marjoram is nice. So I'm just going to let this all get nice. And I have my heat on, I'd say low, but this is my runaway burner, as you can tell. It's going to run away on me. It'd be crazy. It's going to burn everything. I don't know about you guys, but cooking on an electric stove in apartment complexes, you always have one burner that is like red hot running away, right? You can have it on low and it's going to burn everything. And then one that won't turn on. No matter how many times they replace this oven, I still get a flashing light eventually that says F4, F5, ground installation usually. Same thing with the refrigerator. It'll always power down and just get cray-cray. So I'm gonna let this cook. We have power surges, especially now that so many people at home. Okay, so I have 2.5 tablespoons of flour that I took out and 1 tablespoon of butter. because the ham's going to give it some fat too. So I'm going to make a roux with my potato, celery, onion, carrot, and ham, and the juice from that right in there. Then I'm going to toss in my chicken broth and my extra water with my chicken packets. And I'm just going to cover it, let it cook like a potato soup would. Add a little extra water and stick my broccoli and my cabbage in at the end. So I have a little bit of just a twist on not really doing a corned beef and cabbage. I already have that out. I saved it from the freezer from last week. So I want to talk about the interview that George Stephanopoulos did with President Joe Biden. Okay, so the headlines are going to be screaming. President Biden said to migrants, "Don't come to America." Did he really say that? Well, eventually he said, "Don't come now. Don't come to this country now, because we're in the middle of a pandemic. It's a humanitarian crisis. Whatever the cartel is telling you, they're lying to you. Your children will not have a good situation. Blah, 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 blah." Okay, so he did say it. Content. Now, where he gaffed huge, and if you go back and look at it, you can see his, you can see when George Stephanopoulos says, "Governor Cuomo," the minute he goes there to ask President Biden, do you think Governor Cuomo should resign? Joe Biden swallows his upper lip, almost makes a frown. His roof is stuck to his mouth. His tongue is stuck to the roof of his mouth. And he's trying to bite his lip and not say anything. But he just can't help himself, because he's like a disciplined little schoolboy who's going to yell out his quiet no matter what. Now, President Biden has been accused of being too touchy, too feely, too close, too cuckoo. I believe one person said it was like an octopus was standing next to me, because his hands were everywhere and he just was awkward, and it made me feel gross and uncomfortable. You got tons of women and children, senior staffers, campaigners, saying, I felt really uncomfortable with Joe Biden. He was smelling my hair. He was rubbing my nose. He was touching my thigh. He had his hands on my waist. He had his hands on the small of my waist, around my waist, around the small of my back. They felt threatened. They felt gross. They felt icky, right? Joe Biden came out and said, "That's just me being Joe, folks. That's just me being Joe. Friendly Joe. Neighborly Joe. Old school Joe. Okay, I'm from a generation that's more touchy-feely and protective of women and children, and maybe I don't know the new rules. Teach me, I'll learn. I'm sorry. Maybe I did invade people's personal space, and that wasn't my intent to make anybody feel gross or icky." Governor Cuomo is being accused of the very same thing President Biden was accused of. But President Biden, when George Stephanopoulos said, "Do you think Governor Cuomo should resign?" he said, "Yes, and I think he should be prosecuted legally. And I think women should stop being used as scapegoats. And I think we should listen to women more. And if they have a complaint in the workforce, we have to take it very seriously. And even if it made them feel uncomfortable, it matters." I say, in goes the butter. Get around in there. And my flour's been going. I'm going to cook that out. I say, Joe's got a guilty conscience. Joe feels creepy about when he was just Joe. Joe's getting gaffy. Anybody that sits down with George Stephanopoulos is going to give up information. Donald Trump did, and turned around and said, "Hey, George, don't be a wise guy. We all know you can be a wise guy. Don't put words in my mouth." Okay. George Stephanopoulos has superpowers. He can just sit there, very open. His body language is very open. He doesn't even fully cross his leg. He just leans back. He doesn't corner a person when they give an answer. You never see George Stephanopoulos look shocked or having an aha moment. Like, really? You never see that on his face. You just see him continue to go on. He already knows where he's going. He knows where he's going to go. But then he lets the person he's interviewing go there for him. He lets them do the work by just listening and letting them. Doesn't interrupt them. Let them talk. Let them just talk. And then he jumps in. Really? Really? Did the Russians really say that? Really? Did the Pole really say that? Really? You think he should be legally prosecuted? Really? And if you look at those are the aha moments of where President Biden is like, I said my quiet out loud. I really just pointed the finger at Governor Andrew Cuomo for the very same thing I was accused of, because I am doing what? I am projecting. I really am guilty of those things. So I am projecting. But I got away with it. Look, I'm president. Look, I love Joe Biden. I love Governor Cuomo. I think for what they're hired to do, and I'll even go so far as to say, when Donald Trump was not president, I loved him as citizen Donald Trump. I really did. So I followed his career. I followed every move. And I think for me, where it gets all very convoluted is the media. All the media. Not just CNN, all media. I'm going to go in with my chicken stock, if I can get it out of the package here. And it gets very convoluted in the headlines, in the noise. And then the Roman Coliseum, lion den kind of social media, everything, like what I'm doing right now even. Opinion. Okay. We've all heard the saying, everybody has a ass, hole, pardon my language, everybody does, and everybody has an opinion. You can take it or leave it. You don't have to agree or disagree. I don't care. It's my opinion, right? So, to me, it's very, very obvious that nobody asked. It's just an observation. I'm just making an observation. President Biden was not asked if he thinks Governor Cuomo should be prosecuted. He offered that up. So you can't blame George Stephanopoulos and say, well, maybe George Stephanopoulos asked too much. No, he didn't. He really didn't. So I'm thinking of all that, like, wow. Let me give this a little more butter. I'm going to try my superpowers at being not klutzy in the kitchen. I'm getting a little bit more butter off of that. So I am doing this one-handed, so forgive me. I think 1 tablespoon more butter. I have 2 tablespoons, 2.5 tablespoons of flour. I want that to melt in there. Yeah, but I want to hear that sizzle. And then I'll deglaze the pan with the chicken broth. Okay. And then I'm just going to let these float around. Anyways, I just found it really annoying, spinning pan, that it's so obvious that President Biden went to a place he didn't belong. He didn't belong. Didn't belong there. No. All right, in goes my chicken broth. And the 1 whole can is going in. And I usually take the lid off so I could just use the can as water. But I'm going to use another method here. A little thermos of water. So because I want 2 cups and 2 cups, I want it to cover and then bring it to a boil again. Cold water. And normally I would just put a little bit of the chicken broth in and deglaze the pan a little at a time. I am going to turn the heat up on this. But I just got it covered, right? But I want to bring this to a boil. So as this comes to a boil, it will even deglaze more. It's perfectly clear on the bottom. The bottom of the pan is clean and nice. Potatoes not sticking to it. The vegetables aren't sticking to it. It's yummy looking. Alright. Because it's potato, I'm going to cover it. And I used a 16-ounce milk. So about 2 cups more water. And I'm just going to let that come to a boil. Like that. When it comes to a boil, I'm going to lower it to a simmer. I'm going to chop down the rest of my cabbage in small pieces and throw my broccoli in. And then I might, later, I don't know, I'll let you know, I might throw a little cheese on it when I serve it. Maybe not. But that's it. A little carrot, celery, onion. You got your sofrito, mirepoix. Added peppers to it. You have the Holy Trinity. Everybody calls it something different. Some people, French, they call it mirepoix. In Italy, we call it sofrito. Spain, they call it sofrito. Just your carrot, celery, onion. If you add peppers to it, my grandmother always called it, my mom's mom, Holy Trinity. She always added more pepper than, sometimes she would do pepper, onion, celery, more than the carrots. I don't know why, but she did. It was good. So, that's that. I'm really enjoying watching Stanley Tucci make his way through Italy. Is anybody else? Stanley Tucci searching for Italy. Man, I think he found it in all the good food. What a job he's got, right? All right, that potato's going in there. Stay in the pot, don't jump out. Do a little cleanup and get my boot on my leg. So here's what happened to my leg. I ruptured my tendon of my Achilles heel. So I have a fractured boot that I'm wearing for daily activities around the house. But I'm going to see the doctor on the 25th. And really, it has not improved. After I wear the boot, it does, my ankle will pick up more after a whole day of having the boot on. I am able to lift my toes up more and get more range of motion. When you rupture your Achilles tendon, your foot drops. Your toes go like this. And you'll find you're tripping over your foot constantly, and you can't get your foot to lift up and make that movement, and there's tons of pain when you step down. And then eventually your foot and your leg just start swelling every time you're standing. You got to kind of elevate that leg. So I'm doing a lot of rice, resting it, right? Icing it, compressing, and elevation. I normally walk back and forth to the store to get my groceries. This time I actually called Instacart for just next door. It's like, I'm not dragging stuff home because it really does hurt. I'm not taking Tylenol or anything for it. I injured it originally. I fell on ice outside. And what I really thought I injured was my elbow and my hip, because I went down, I kind of broke my fall on my elbow, and my hip got real bruised. But later that day, I was vacuuming, and I noticed I couldn't move my foot back and get it out of the way. It just wasn't moving with me. So, when you're vacuuming, how you're going like this way, and then you're backing up and going this way. And explaining this to the doctor, reading it in the notes, it's hysterical. Patient claims, lingo for medical stuff. Patient claims, while vacuuming, she jumped back to get away from the vacuum. Well, I did. I was in my bathroom, which is kind of a tight spot here. But this was after I fell. The foot just wouldn't move with me. It was not moving back and forward. and I kept tripping over it. And when I went to back and moved back, I thought, oh, I'm going to run over my foot because it wouldn't get out of the way. I thought I moved it, but it didn't move. So, yeah, so that's where I'm at with the foot. And basically, if I had to walk a straight line, like if a policeman stopped me right now and said, walk a straight line, I couldn't do it. My right foot wants to go this way. It's like this. So the boot helps it stay. The ankle stay like this. And my toes stay up where they should be. So when you first start to see toes that are going down, and this is much better, it's early in the day, but you should have flat toes. You shouldn't have toes that start to go like this. If they start doing that, you're losing your ability to, and you'll think it's your foot. You'll think something's in my foot. You'll think it's plantar fasciitis. You'll step down, and if you go to urgent care like I did December 4th, during the orange COVID time, I was told I had a high arch in my foot and I needed support. Nobody did an x-ray. Nobody did. I said, no. I fell outside yesterday. I can't move my foot right. It feels like something is really off in my foot. There was actually a swollen part, a bony part that comes through. I got pointing to it. He took off my shoes. He said, no, these shoes are no good. You need, this was the doctor at urgent care, on a Friday night at 10 o'clock after waiting in the parking lot to be triaged to get in. Not going to the hospital because I didn't want to go to the hospital during the orange COVID time, so I went to urgent care, right? So my friend and I sat in the car, taking turns getting out of the car, but not going too far, and wearing our masks and turning the heat on and off and the window up and down. And a week later, she had COVID. Yeah. So the doctor said, these Memory Go Walk shoes, Skechers, were no good. They were no good. I just had a high arch and I needed a lot of Dr. Schultz support, and he would give me a referral to a podiatrist. So I went to the podiatrist he sent me to, and they said, we're going to send you to orthodontics and for support. They didn't do an x-ray either. So then my primary care doctor, I said, I need you to look at my foot. I've been to urgent care. I've been to podiatrist. And nobody's doing anything. Nobody's actually looking at it. I can't walk on it every day. I can't walk. She looked at my foot. She said, there's something. She said, you have to go to I'm going to send you to Strong Podiatry. She said, this is terrible. You would think a podiatrist is a podiatrist everywhere, right? Got to Strong Podiatry. Oh my God, this guy was so good. His nurse was fantastic. She said, we're going to take x-rays right here. Within 5 minutes, I met him. I can't say his name on air, but let me just say Strong Podiatry is good. He walked in, he met me, he went over, oh yeah, okay, so and how long have you been walking around on it? And you went to urgent care, really? Yeah. Told me I needed arch support, or I might have a little plantar fasciitis going on. He said, nobody x-rayed it? No, nobody x-rayed it. So I said, so I've been doing all these exercises for plantar fasciitis, like tennis balls and stretching the fasciitis muscle. I even signed up for a course at a 2-week course of stretching, or I paid for the course to stretch all your fasciitis tissue, and especially your feet. Because the new diagnosis out there that's huge, that everybody's getting is, you got plantar fasciitis? Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe you have a ruptured tendon, a torn tendon, as my doctor called it, a shredded tendon. It doesn't just go away. You gotta immobilize your foot, put it in a fracture boot. Then pretty much gotta do physical therapy, but first you gotta immobilize it. I just kept trying to walk on it. So all of December, I walked all over the universe, being in pain, until I got to the point where in February, my leg was swelling every day. I would wake up feeling like my right leg was just full and my foot was just huge. So he measured my foot, he did the x-rays, he came back, showed me my heel, my calcaneus bone and everything. he showed me everything, and he said, see this tendon here, this whole area? This is your Achilles tendon, and it's a huge tendon, and this is what controls bringing your foot up and bringing your toes up. So when it's shredded, torn like this, he said, you really did a number on it. But it's a 2.5-year-old injury, so we're going to brace it. And they went with a brace originally and then a fracture boot. And it's a soft boot, so you can walk in it, but it's really hard to walk outside with it too far. So I'm just taking it easy. I'm waiting till I get any stairs done that I have to do, like I have to do laundry, so I'll wait till I get the laundry done, and then I'll throw the boot on for the rest of the day. I don't sit down much. I'm mostly on my feet in the kitchen, on my feet in the house, and even when I'm computering, watching TV, I'm on my feet. I try to stay on my feet because I've gained weight over the quarantine and I was sitting too long. So I'm trying to stand when I crochet, knit, tad, even doing, little forward movements. So there's my little theme tree that I mentioned in another video that my daughter gifted me with this Christmas. And her idea was every holiday you can just decorate it as you want, a little 18-inch tree. And I love the white of it. So that was from Valentine's Day. And I did Inauguration Day. I had Susan B. Anthony on there, Thomas Jefferson. I did Dr. Martin Luther King Day. I had him on there. And I made a bunch of black peace signs. And I did Kwanzaa. I did yellow, orange, purple. I'm keeping the black peace signs up for Black Lives Matter, for Miss Breonna Taylor, for Mr. George Floyd, Mr. Daniel Pruitt. So many. There are too many. There are too many to name in this video that have not gotten justice yet. And Black lives really do matter. And so I'm keeping the black peace signs up for that all year. And then I'll add to it. So today I'm making shamrocks. I'm going to knit some. And I might keep a few of the hearts up then for spring. Like Easter, I might make a few ducks or butterflies or doves. Now, my snowman cookie jar stays up until it stops snowing, and sometimes it does snow in April. Sometimes it snows in April. So it's staying up. But what's really in there is my winter collection of fortune cookies from eating Chinese takeout. So I wait till my birthday, take all those cookies out. First time it goes to like 80 degrees, and I'm pretty certain it's not going to snow. And I open them up on my birthday in May. That's what I do. So, and I read them to myself as little affirmations. So there's no real cookies in there, but fortune cookies. That will come down after it snows at the end of April. Because it will snow. What else do I want to say? Yeah, so keeping with my theme of Me Too is too much, I'm going to say again, the book that I have read this year that really flipped a switch in me, that we all have to grow a thicker skin and have compassion and just be human and stop accusing and making allegations because of what we feel. We are not what we feel. Our experiences are not really what we feel. It's all perception, perception, perception. So, because Miss Charlotte Bennett felt like the governor wanted to sleep with her from what he said, does not mean that was actually what it was. If we start accusing people and throwing them in the lion's den because of how it made us feel, we're done as a civilization. Yeah, I come back around. So the book that I read that really made me think was called The Coddling of the American Mind, and how good intentions can lead to bad future failure in the future for generations. And it really looks at the having to be the political environment, school environment, how professors and everyone is so careful to be politically correct that you cannot even teach history as it really is. Textbooks are being rewritten. Phrases, phraseology, words are being taken out. A professor cannot have class participation in conversations that one or two students get triggered from. Johnny and Susie are going home to their mommy and daddy and saying, I want to get out of that class because they're talking about stuff that makes me uncomfortable. They're using words that make me uncomfortable. It's prejudice. It's racist. It's inappropriate. And that the standards have been so lowered in our colleges, in our high schools, in our grammar schools, and in the work environment, we're good for nothing if we're all going to walk around with thin-skinned and accusing, this one did that one did this one did that. How is governor being accused of making an entire Senate unable to work and do their job? How? You've heard it said you can't walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. That is a willful, what's really happening, it really is cancel culture. That's what they're doing to Governor Cuomo. That's what they're doing. And that's what they did to Trump, too. And so there is, as far as I'm concerned, there is a shadow gov, a deep state at work. I'm not going to go so far as to say the cabal or, a baby eating or sacrificing and all this pedophilia. I'm not going to say that, but I am going to say there has always been an illuminate handlers and governors that are higher up than the people we see. And all you have to do is watch a few interviews and see how the media takes off with it. What they decide. Going back to, and this is my tribute to my friend Joe, who passed away 2 years ago in March. He was a newsman for 38 plus years. He decided what went in the newspaper. He watched big stories come across his desk and the higher ups say, shelve that. Put it to the back of the page. Put it in italics in light color on the bottom. This we're going with bold, because there was always breaking news, right? And he watched as those stories stayed on the shelf and nobody followed up on them because they weren't breaking news anymore. So my video today is about weeding through what we're being told. And you watch how this picks up. Biden said Governor Cuomo should be legally prosecuted. And because of that, watch the heat come down on Governor Cuomo worse now. And for that, I blame the media. I blame the government and the media for letting it take on a life that is not. That's all I'm saying. Okay, the other book that I am reading, I can't show it to you on film right now because I don't know where the heck it is This is the Fire by Don Lemon. And awesome book. I would say The Coddling of the American Mind by, I want to say Gary Lucanon and Jonathan Haidt. Not hate like Haidt, H-A-I-D-T. And then Don Lemon, journalist, This is the Fire, which really goes into the ugly conversations that we do have to have. I always think of Van Jones when I'm reading this book. I think Van Jones tried to go there, like this. These are the inconvenient truths that nobody wants to hear when we talk about covert racism, prejudice, and white privilege. When people don't understand that they are being racist. It's just a great book on the conversations that need to be had across every culture, every color, but specifically why Black lives really do matter. Specifically why 400 years of oppression, discrimination, enslavement, killing matters. And so I would say the two books that I would put on a reading list would be The Coddling of the American Mind and This is the Fire. So those are my two books, and that's my 2 cents for the day. And this is my recipe for a little ham and potato soup. Looking good. Chop down that cabbage that I have left over. I made a little coleslaw with it too. One little head of cabbage. Look at how much it did, how much work it did for me. So there you go. I could have gone with a minestrone today. I was going that direction. This might get a little more water, and it's gonna get the broccoli at the end. So once it gets all nice and cooked, I throw the broccoli in there. I might put a cheddar cheese in it. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll let you know. I'm just going to let that come to a good boil, and then I'll bring it down to a simmer, and I'll throw my broccoli and cabbage in it, put a lid on it, put some more water in it, and I'll probably thicken it again. I might make a little slurry of flour and water and get it a little thicker. We'll see. Might use my nice immersion blender. Thank you to my cousins who got that for me. It was a birthday gift a couple years ago. I love using it. Or I'll just grab my potato masher and mash down some of those potatoes. But I want a little bit more broth in it, so it's not going to be a really thick soup. I'll show you how it looks when it's done. Have a nice day, everybody. Be safe on St. Patrick's Day. If you are drinking, please don't drive. And I don't know why people drink on St. Patrick's Day. I still don't get it. Thank you to Miss Karen Depthrader featuring with your launch of Emotions magazine, which is so relevant right now and needful, and featuring all of our poets and writers that contributed to your magazine. Good luck with your launch. Thank you to Ringo for inviting me to creative places, and hope everybody's having an awesome day. Take care.